Welcome back to the Reset, episode 58 with me, Sean Tucker. The storm is coming, but we're rowing the boats anyway. That is a quote that I just read from the Train Hard Men's Club All Captains chat on Slack. It was from the call the other day. And wow, it's never been so true. There is a lot of panic that is happening, right? A lot of uncertainty, a lot of, just chaos. People are still purchasing as normal, but I guess there has been a shock all over the globe around things like fuel prices. I'm sure there are countries and there are people that are unaffected by it, but I guess, when the storm comes, do you stay and hide and find shelter, or do you go out to the ocean and you row the boats anyway? Because if this storm is manufactured by us, by our own minds, by our leaders, well, it's only going to take real good leaders. Well, it's going to take real leaders, especially men who are really strong in knowing who they are and knowing what they're about and knowing what it means to connect community together. We're going to row our boats in the middle of the storm, and we're going to do it together. We're not going to listen to the mass agenda, the mass media, and let them decide for us what we're going to do. No, we're going to connect together as a community, and we're going to be stronger and become stronger because of it. It takes real balls and real courage to show up when things are uncertain, when things are uncomfortable, when it's going to be hard to even know if I can pay my things on time. When there's uncertainty, the one thing you must do is take care of yourself. Because what happens when the mind becomes really unstable? This is actually when mental health issues go up and people's mental health declines rapidly. We saw this during the COVID pandemic. We saw this probably numerous times over the last decade when it came to technologies becoming easier and easier and more comfortable. When we are faced with uncertainty, when we are faced with something outside of us trying to control how we are, how we operate, how we feel, well, we need to take back ownership and really make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. This isn't about conspiracies. This is just about your mental well-being and your physical health. Because what happens when whatever narrative is right, I mean, I don't really know what's happening. I'm not in the space to look at and know what is happening, because all I know is what's happening for me. And you must decide for yourself whether you work on yourself or you become worked on. Showing up when it's hard, that's where the real test is. I interviewed someone, my good friend Mario Bekish, on my podcast, Grounded in the Noise, before I started the Reset podcast. And he talks about when his parents abandoned him at a ripe age of his teenage years, when the war started in Yugoslavia, from when he was in Croatia and the 4 countries split because there was a war that happened. He looked downstairs and could find no one. There was a letter left from his dad saying, "Sorry, son, we had to go." And what kind of man are you going to be? Are you going to be one who shows up for his family and shows up and goes to battle with himself? Or are you going to let the world dictate and let fear control you? Because I know which side of the fence I'm on. I stared fear right down the face and I said, even if I'm terrified, I'm still showing up. Even if I get punched in the head a few times, I'm still showing up. Even if this means that I lose, I'm still going to show up. Even if this means I cry, I still show up. And the other part of the story that I love that Mario shared on that podcast interview was his best friend was a teddy bear because he had no one else. He literally had no one else. And those were probably one of the darkest times that he'd gone through. And as we're entering these times of uncertainty, these times of really unknown, you really have to decide who it is you are and what it is you stand for. Not everyone is built for that. Not everyone is made for that. But what I would say is find someone who is built for that. Find someone who is made for that and learn from them. Because we're all adaptable. We can all change who we are. We can all change our capabilities and how we respond to the world. And it's only up to you. Only you can do that. You have to have the willingness. You have to have the grit and the determination to change. Because everyone is born somewhat similar in the sense that we can all adapt. It is your choice to stay the same that keeps you stuck. It is more comfortable to stay the same than it is to change. It's more energetically efficient to stay the same than it is to change. When we enter spaces that are unknown, where do you default to? Who do you default to? It's in those times you really get to know yourself. You really get to know what you're running from and what it is you need to do to get on the other side. I mean, I really don't know what's happening. I can't tell you. I wouldn't know because honestly, I don't consume too much of the mass media. Yes, I consume social media, of course. But I do that within a limitation. So do be mindful of what kind of media sources you're listening to. And do be mindful of the bias, of the impact of what it's having over you. Because I remember back in 2020 and 2021, where I would find my news is ABC. And I would go there every single day because I'm from Melbourne and we were the most locked down city on the planet. And I was constantly checking, when are we opening? When are we opening? When are we opening? And every day they would do the same count. And every day it was the same old telltale. We can only do it when this hits 0. So everyone's got to do this. It's mass conscription. Everyone has to follow the rules. And it's only those who don't follow the rules are letting everyone down. And so it's not about, what I'm saying here is it's not about splitting, but that's what you are fed if that's what you're listening to. We don't want to separate. We want to actually come together as one. I don't care if you're left or right. It doesn't bother me. What I do care about is you being able to provide and protect for your family. And it doesn't just mean providing financially. It means showing up when it gets hard. It means being strong and being relied upon when things become uncertain, when potentially violence and crimes go up in times of uncertainty. It's being able to stand strong in the face of fear. That's what it means to show up. So I didn't know this is where I was going to go with this podcast, but I'm glad that I got that off my chest because I know it's going to help someone. So if you found value in today's episode and you want to become harder to kill, then I urge you to really start taking care of yourself and learn from people who have done it. Learn from someone who looks like they're hard to kill. Learn from someone who shows up no matter what. Not just some of these influencers who say they've got life figured out, because most of them haven't. And that's just the truth. So if you have found value in today's episode, share it with one person. That's all I ask. And I appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode.